All right. Okay. We're here. We're in here. Hey, welcome. This is your first time. My name is Aaron, and I'm excited to be here. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one today. So let's dive. Let's dive into it, and just kind of talk about what we're seeing. Right. We're gonna go through and we're just gonna top down the market, and there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. Oh, my camera is still acting up. Okay. Hmm. All right. I might have to do this without a camera, you guys. Okay, here it is. My voice is a little raspy. It's been quite the yeah, apply settings. It's been uh it's been interesting, right? For me. That got a little sick. So I'm trying to get over it, but we are here. We are doing the thing, and I'm excited to get after it for the week. So, starting things off, we're just going to take a look at MNQ. And so NQ, MNQ, I trade MNQ, the micros, MES, and YM, right? These are the three markets that we're going to look at primarily. But we're also going to take a look at a Bitcoin. I think that has been doing some yeah, Bitcoin has been it's been interesting as well. So the market is at a point where it's extremely just I think a lot of things can happen, and we're gonna dive into it. If you are in our Discord and you're tuning in right now, head over to the YouTube channel. That'll be under learning and resources and the links, and it's gonna be that first link on our Discord. And if you want to join the Discord, it's absolutely free. First link in the description down below. So moving on, I am live on the Discord right now, just going through. So if you guys are, driving or anything, think of it like a podcast, right? You get to listen into a podcast in a trading podcast, and that's always a good thing. So let's dive into it. First off, let's take a look at the calendar for this week. For this week, we have some things that none of this is going to affect us. For us, we're looking at the US. So let me change this, filter this down to non-USD. We don't want to see these. We just want to see, boom. These are sort of the main ones that we're looking at, right? We've got final services PMI at 9:45, 9:30. FOMC member Cook speaks. What is he going to talk about? I have no clue. So the open might be interesting, right? Tomorrow morning on Monday. Then on Tuesday we have ISM services PMI and JOLTS job opening at 10 a.m. Another FOMC speaker at 8 a.m. And then 8:15 non-farm employment change, FOMC meeting minutes. Wednesday might be interesting, right? Unemployment claims at 8:30. So right before open, we can get a bunch of movement in the market. So be on the lookout for that. If you are going to be in a position in the morning or holding something overnight, just keep that in mind, right? Even if you're playing options, if you are, in any kind of stock or anything like that, things can change dramatically when it comes down to these red folder news, right? So FOMC minutes, 2 p.m., and these are just things that can move the market. On Thursday, we've got all of this. There's nothing really nothing crazy that I'm looking at. Natural gas, 30-year bond auction, FOMC. Okay, no. Friday we have FOMC or non-farm employment change. average hourly earnings month over month, unemployment rate at 830, and that'll finish off the week for us, right? So that's that'll be interesting. That'll be really, really interesting. If you don't know, you can find this on forexfactory.com and look at all of this. You can look at the week, the day, whatever. But that is just something that you should keep in mind as we move into the week. So let's dive into it, starting off things with NASDAQ. NASDAQ has had a wild sell-off, right? We had FOMC, we have Jerome Powell speaking, and he cut rates, but we had this massive sell-off because in 2025, that will no longer take place, right? Then we had a sort of a pullback continuation to the downside, and then we recovered pretty nicely to the upside. Didn't fully come, we didn't come back up to these highs, but we recovered and then sold off again. We've been selling off for the past, what is this? Let's see, we had Friday was a recovery day, which was kind of nice. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row sell off, right? That's insane. 5 down days in a row. And then finally on Friday, we get this nice recovery to the upside. But there's a couple of things that I'm watching. There's a couple of levels that I'm looking at. Let me get this like this, right? So let's kind of come out for a moment and then zoom back in. So looking at the weekly chart, we see that we've been trying to tap into these previous all-time highs, right? Right. Oh man, let me get rid of all this. We've been trying to tap into this previous all-time highs, right? All of this. We've rejected that pretty nicely. So we had 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we rejected this, right? Then we rejected to the upside. We couldn't hold back up to this all-time high, rejected that, try to penetrate again, and then had a nice rejection. If we continue to hold this, then we might be able to see some upside on NQ. All right. So if we continue to hold above this, we might continue to, rip higher. That is if we continue to hold this. Looking at the 3-day, same thing, you can see how we're holding this area of price, right? In the 21,200s, 21,400s, etc. Now this is a pretty big area to kind of monitor and trade from. So let's see if we can narrow this down just a little bit more. If you're an ICT trader, fair value gap trader, then you have a 3-day fair value gap that's getting rejected. Unless we close below this, then we can expect a continuation to the downside if we want to continue to the downside, right? But right now I'm honestly expecting sort of a pullback to continue the trend to the downside, unless this then became support here, and now we're moving to the upside. All right, there is an area here from here to here, right? This is 21,324 and 21,410. That has served as an area where price has reacted to, right? We can see price went up, kind of shelved up here before falling lower again, then rejection at this area, couldn't break through, finally breaks through and runs to the upside. This is also the area that we had a bounce back from our FOMC. Now, yes, we did have a massive sell-off, but immediately rejected and wicked under on the daily. Close this below, but now we're coming up. Now, one thing I want you to notice is we have this fair value gap here. We could continue to rebalance because this would create our trend to the downside, right? Like this is sort of a trend that we're looking at. If price can come up here, this is a great area to look for shorts if we continue to hold bearish order flow in price, right? So, but right now, we already took this low. This low has been basically we've met our target. We've talked about this target, right? We've met our target. Now we would either want to rebalance all of this before continuing higher, or break this structure to the downside and create all-time highs moving forward. So that's my outlook right now. It's intraday bullish with an overall bearish stance on NQ. Looking at ES, right? ES, we had that massive sell-off, right? Let's look at it on the weekly, and you can see it's sort of a similar picture. We had this area of rejection, right? We rejected this area here 1, 2, 3 times here, and we're holding above, looking for higher prices. And this is what I'm saying, like maybe we could have a bounce to the upside intraday in this during the week, right? So looking at the 3-day, same thing. Looking at the daily, here is where we have our daily fair value gap. This also aligns with our NQ fair value gap, right? So if we're looking at it sort of like this, we could expect price to come up here, tap into this fair value gap, giving us that, if you're a trend trader, give you that trend to the downside, unless we continue to break above, hold, and then rip to the upside, right? So right now, we also have an SMT with ES and NQ. That's something to keep in mind, right? Let's just, whatever, right here. We have an SMT. So if you look at NQ and if you look at ES, right? NQ managed to move below this low, this swing low, while ES failed to do so. So there's divergence there in the market, and this could indicate some bullish action in the week. And this is on the daily time frame, right? So the daily time frame will hold king over 5 minutes, 15-minute time frames, right? And just like the weekly time frame will also hold king over the daily time frame, etc., etc. So now that we have that, now that we looked at that, okay, let's see. YM is playing a different story. And YM is actually pretty interesting. Let's take a look at YM. YM has been, look at how many days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days of selling. And then FOMC, FOMC, we get this massive down candle, this sell-off, right? The sell-off was what is that? 2.7% ish. So we get this massive sell-off, right? And then we get a recovery, right? We get a recovery towards this area here, right? And this area seems to be serving as an area where prices reacted to before, right? We came up, bounced above right here, and we try to come back up to that area and before falling to the downside. So one other thing that I want to point out to you is YM has created this sort of trend to the upside, right? So we have this trend here, and it was holding great, and then all of a sudden FOMC comes, we break underneath this trend, we retest this. Now this could be sort of a break of structure on YM. We haven't gotten that on ES or NQ yet, but this could be a break of structure on YM. So something that's really interesting, because we could come up, right? YM could try to find its way back, right? We still need to retest this, right? Or it could retest this before going lower and creating, changing basically the direction of the market. I don't really care for YM doing this. I'd much rather see ES and or NQ starting to do stuff like that. YM just doesn't it doesn't interest me that way, right? I don't trade it. I don't trade it like I just use it for confirmation, for divergence and stuff like that. Okay. So you can see ES is just following the structure. ES sort of did come down below the structure to try to retest that, right? NQ is still following this, right? We're still holding above. Yes, we broke below a couple times, but ultimately this is still a bullish trend to the upside. Hold on. One second, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Anyways, um yeah, so YM, like I mentioned, right? Sorry, NQ continues to follow this trend to the upside. And YM broke that trend, right? And we could kind of debate whether ES has broken that trend too, right? We could look at it like this and say, cool, all right, ES fell below for a moment, right? And then found its support there, right? Or we can use this as our sort of channel where price has been there before moving higher, right? Same thing with NQ. We can use this as a channel. Price could come down here, but ultimately not breaking the trend that it's been on for the last 2 years, right? You can see that we are continuing. This is 2 years of just price action to the upside. Yes, we had some massive sell-offs, but nothing ultimately always holding this bullish trend, right? You can look at this. You can look at this as a channel, and we've been moving just to the upside. So is there going to be a sell-off? I don't know. It's too early to tell. I think this could continue to sell off, but not a full reversal just because we haven't had that confirmation to the downside. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, let me know. If it doesn't make sense, let me know what you're seeing. But that is YM, NQ, ES. Looking at Bitcoin. Oh, I had this paper trade on there. So don't mind it. Let me take it off actually. Okay, whatever. We'll have this. We'll have it as ticks. All right, perfect. So starting things off, let's take a look at it on the daily. Let's go on the daily right here. Man, can I hide this? Positions, there we go. All right, cool. So on the daily, right? This is the daily. Let's go to the weekly. On the weekly chart right here, we've had a massive run, right? We've had a run. We've accumulated for a while, and now we're back on a run. Are we going to see this type of, price action up here before a continuation higher? I think we could see that. I'm actually thinking, even if we do want to go higher on a higher time frame, Bitcoin could fall, right? Do a nice retracement before continuing higher. Let's just go from here. So we could retrace down 38%, 50% of this move, which is into that fair value gap if you're a fair value gap trader. before a continuation higher. This is also, you could say, oh, well, maybe we're following a trend. You could at some point break down into the 80s, 85 before a continuation higher. So right now, intraday, I'm bullish just because if you look at the daily, we are holding this area down here, right? We took liquidity down here, but we are holding this area. We do have a fair value gap. This is a daily fair value gap where I would expect price to bounce. Oh, okay. I would expect price to bounce here, right? Oh, not like that. Sorry. So price could just come up here, bounce before breaking underneath. Now, this is terrible, but you get the point. Or this is a second, we can look at this as a second area, which is $100,000 area. And this has been a place where prices hasn't been able to break through again. It did once, right? Held above, broke underneath, and it hasn't been able to break through again. So 100,000 could be sort of a potential area to look at for some down, for some lower prices, right? Now, this is what's interesting, right? So if you look at the daily chart, we're right here, right? We do have this in sort of a fair value gap that we haven't been able to break through. And here's what's interesting. We're right now we have an SMT with Ethereum. So Ethereum gave us this SMT with Bitcoin inside of a fair value gap, which is also a daily fair value gap. So we could continue to into this other fair value gap up here, but right now this is looking pretty bearish to me, right? 50% retracement of this move right here, 50% retracement into a daily fair value gap that we haven't been able to break through, giving us an SMT. I don't know. I mean, this OTE area also seems really good, but right now there is an SMT. I'd love to see us break above this and maybe invalidate this SMT before, if we want to see higher prices. But I would certainly wait to take this in order to be bullish. Like right now, if as it stands, I would lean a little bit more bearish, right? Because we've closed this candle closed above, this candle closed above, and we haven't been able to close above this recent high. So that is what I'm looking at on Ethereum and Bitcoin. My target is going to be around the 80,000, but it's going to take a little while. So intraday, bullish. I want to invalidate this SMT, maybe move into that daily fair value gap. Looking at the 100,000 area, that's going to be an important area to look at. And before we move lower, if you have any requests, if you want me to check out anything, let me know. We're going to go through a couple of actual stocks and look at them. I don't really trade stocks, but I do hold a couple options. So I do look at them from time to time, just because I know NASDAQ, S&P, they do hold a majority of or some percentage of these stocks, right? So first of all, let's take a look at Tesla. Who doesn't have Tesla, right? This is on the, let's look at it on the weekly. So coming out, like framing this thing out, right? We see that we have pulled into this in the weekly chart. We've seen this area, this previous all-time high, right? We broke that all-time high 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 1, 2, 3 weeks ago. And right now we're rejecting it. Okay. We're rejecting this pretty good to the upside. Now, I'm still, I don't know. Tesla's one of those that it can be so just volatile and unpredictable, right? So we've seen things like this where there's an area or a level that wants to be broken, gets wicked, but again, like it just comes back in, closes below, and then we get the sell off. So I would be looking for us to break below the 400s on Tesla to the downside, right? If we break below the 400s, And I would be looking at some bearish action on Tesla. But right now we're rejecting this pretty hard. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, I mean on the daily we're moving. We had a couple of days just selling off, but now we're moving to the upside here on Tesla. So we could get a nice recovery before coming down. Now we are creating this sort of downtrend, right? So Tesla could maybe try to come up to the 440s before falling again and giving us some more lower prices on Tesla. Nvidia, this is one that I used to trade all the time. I was when I was doing just stocks or options. This is one that I would trade all the time. Can I do um hmm, okay, let's go. Yeah, here we go. Electronic trading hours. Hey, yeah, guys, let me know if there's anything that you want me to look at, or if you have any questions on this or what I'm looking at. If you have opposing views on what's happening on the market, let me know. Um I'd love to share this, right? I think this is we can grow together. That's where it's at. So Nvidia, there is a very clear area that has served as sort of a support, resistance here, support up here. We haven't been we broke through, right, and held this. What is this, 130s? Yeah, this 130, and now we're moving to the upside. Do we want to create all-time highs? Right, we broke above this sort of downtrend. We could come back down here to the 135s, continue higher, but right now look at this. We are just ripping to the upside. Here's a daily. Yep, ripping to the upside. We could see all-time highs on Nvidia, right? There's nothing down here that I would say, man, this needs to get rebalanced. Like, we're clearly moving in the right direction. Nvidia is bullish as it can be, right? We are respecting this sort of uh trend of support to the upside, right? We've respected this area of support to the upside. So Nvidia looks pretty bullish to me until it shows any signs of bearishness, then I'll change my mind. But knowing this, we can go into NQ and remember that, right? We can go into NQ and just know that, okay, Nvidia is pretty bullish, right? Now we can let's keep in mind Tesla has just retraced. We could see some bullishness on Tesla. Let's look at Apple, AAPL, sorry. Apple has been on a run and it's now getting a retracement to the downside, right? 50% has been almost covered. So this is pretty good. I'd love to see 68%, right? 68% has been this area here between, what is this, 240? I would say 240 would be a good place. Like, if we can continue to hold about 240, right? Like maybe chop around here, then we can see a rip to the upside on Apple. But right now, intraday, I'd be cautious, right? This is a 12-hour. Yeah, I mean, look at this down candle. This intraday, I'd be cautious down to the 240s. Yes, we could get a retracement to maybe right here. This, you can see how this has served as some sort of support resistance here, but we just broke below that. See that right there? Held, boom, ripped above, held that. Now we're just below that. So be careful on Apple. I would watch that as we move into this week, right? So we could see a retracement, like I said. So intraday, you could definitely get this pop to the upside, but I don't know. This is looking pretty bearish to me. So that's that. What else? Amazon. All right, Amazon. I haven't looked at this in a long time. Daily. Let's look at the daily. Alexa, stop. Jeez. Thanks, bro. Okay, so on Amazon, Amazon. Oh yeah, I remember this. Man, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've watched Amazon, right? Like the stock. Duh. Okay, let's take a look at this right here. This is interesting, right? Let me just boom. Let me make this a fatty so you can see it right there. Boom. Look at this trend line for a second. Like look at this trend line, right? We ripped to the upside, held that as support, rip below. What do we do here? Right? What do we do? What do we do here? Boom, rejected that. Broke below, rejected, and then sold off. Eventually we reclaimed it. Even here, look at what happened. We rejected this, boom, sold off again. We haven't been able to break until here. And this was what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. 8 weeks ago, we broke above this trend, right? This down sort of area where we just kept finding resistance. Ultimately, still running to the upside, right? This is a trend, like an uptrend, but we found resistance on this trend line. Can we break a retest before moving higher down to the 200s, 210? So that's what I would be looking at if I'm trading this, right? Even this leg to the upside hasn't been sort of rebalanced, just 38%. But I mean, I don't know. To me, this is clear as day, right? Like to me, this is clear as day. We could be looking for some downside intraday. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, you see this? Boom, trend to the downside. This is an area right now where Amazon it hopefully can break it, and then we continue to see higher prices. Boom, right? Find support back into this area, right? This 225 to 20, yeah, 225, and then continue to rip higher. Ultimately, though, I'd like to see us come back and retest. Even though we got this retest right here. So we may not even get a retest down here. We could break above, retest this, and then rip higher. So it's Amazon's in an interesting area. I do like this. I do like this. What's the next one? MSFT. Microsoft. Shoot, Microsoft. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, Microsoft has been holding this. Microsoft has been holding that right there. You can see it all the way, right? Like this is clear as day, right? Rejection. If we move, even if we move this all the way over here, boom, over, reject, over, support. Does Microsoft want to find support around this area? Do we want to find here, right? Boom and boom. Okay, well, you get it. I couldn't finish that. Or do we break below? If we break below, I would be looking for a retest on the 419, 418s, right? Before continuing lower, something like that. Oh, 415. Sorry. All right. Yeah, maybe 415, 415, 420s, and then continue lower. So just keep an eye on it. Yeah. All right. What is next? Oh, let's look at did we look at gold? This is futures. This is the gold futures. Gold has been ripping to the upside. On the weekly, we had this yeah, I mean, gold is just continuing to rip to the upside. Where are we? Somewhere like this, right? On the daily on gold, I mean, we've held this. Look at that. Held this. Yeah, boom, boom, held, broke below, boom, broke below, but still holding this sort of channel like this, right? We've held this pretty good. Gold could continue to come back into this channel before ripping higher. Right now, gold is also trying to get above. Let's look at it on the 8 hour. Yeah, gold is also trying to. Oh, actually, it did get above. Let's see if we can hold this. And gold is right there. This would be a great play to the upside, right? Let's just say we get down here, stop loss, targeting either previous high, ultimately maybe way up here. And this is going to take a couple days, couple weeks, but I would target this, right? That's a great play on gold, not gonna lie. So gold is currently it broke above, currently testing this. Gold is also, it's also at that 38%, right? We're almost at that 50. If we can get on that 50, that'd be awesome. And anything below, I mean, OTE is also, I mean, everything's a possibility, right? But what are the chances? Look at how gold has been holding, and like this became support, 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 broke, resistance, resistance, broke. Are we going to turn this back into support, knowing that the overall trend is bullish? So that is gold. Sorry, guys. Yeah, my nose is runny. My voice is about to give out, but that's what I'm seeing. That's what I've got for you. That's all I've got. Is there anything else that you want me to look at? Is there anything else that you're like, man, Aaron, I'd love for you to take a look at this? If not, oh, my camera just froze, guys. If you have, oh man, I'm freezing up, huh? If you have a camera recommendation that I could look at, let me know. But that is it. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for sticking. Also, remember Discord. We are there. We are live. It's gonna be a basically a, yeah, we'll be doing this live on Sundays at 6 p.m. Market open, going through the market to see what we like, just to analyze and stuff, right? So hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for joining. Remember Discord, first link on the description down below. My name is Aaron, and let's get after it. FTP team, I am excited for this week. I am looking forward to it, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your night, or wherever, whenever you're watching. And yeah, stay safe, and we'll talk soon. Peace.